Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to Tony the Technician channel, and today we're going to be going back into the Harbor Freight videos, and this is going to be episode 7 or part 7 of 5 things you should consider buying at Harbor Freight. Now these aren't going to be like the top 5 things at Harbor Freight, and it's looking like this might be one of my last ones being part 7, just because I don't really know what else I have from Harbor Freight that I haven't mentioned in my videos already. And I've tried to stick to items that I actually have here and that I use on a regular basis. Now there is something in this video that I don't have anymore, but at the time that I did have it, I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to include it. And actually, instead of 5 things in this video, there's going to be 6. One of which I don't know if Harbor Freight has anymore. So if you guys know, please feel free. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. So first up, we're going to start off with the item that I don't have anymore, and that being Harbor Freight's socket organizer. Now they have many other ones, but I'll also be posting up pictures of each item that I'm talking about, as well as their pricing and things like that. So this item I purchased, I don't know, 7 years ago, and I have the Husky 52-inch flat black toolbox, and I keep my sockets in 2 separate drawers on the bottom half. Well, when I started to organize all of my sockets in there, I realized that I used the Ernst Socket Boss, and I absolutely love that organizer. But when I put my 1/2-inch deep well chrome sockets on there, they were slightly too tall for the drawer, which was really unfortunate. So instead of trying to reorganize my entire toolbox, I took all of my 1/2-inch chrome sockets, both metric and SAE, and I put them on these Harbor Freight rails. They were fantastic. It was just low, it had just a low enough profile in order to keep the sockets, or to clear the drawer and allowed it to close. And the organizer was great. It was $10 for a set of 3. Now granted, I only used the 1/2-inch drive portions of the 3-piece sets, but they were fantastic. The only downside is if you have OCD, or organizing is a big thing to you, the only downside to these is the pegs don't come all the way up, so you don't have to worry about snapping them off or the pegs being too tall for a drawer or anything like that. They're more, little smaller posts, so it still holds the sockets really well. But it is labeled in the center for the size, and my thing is when I'm missing a socket, it bugs me. So I got this organizer and I put all my 1/2-inch drive sockets on there, and it turned out, I was missing like 4 sockets. And they're sockets that I've probably never used and will probably never use, but having those empty spots really irritated me. So I went online and I ended up purchasing any brand that I could find in those socket sizes because they were not easy to find. But that's besides the point. Overall, I was very happy with those organizers. They're very basic organizers, but they worked well in the time that I needed them. Now I've switched up organization. That's not an issue anymore, but the time that I did have them, I enjoyed them. They also have a little bit more expensive version. I think the ones I'm talking about are $10. They also have a $27 version where the pegs or the posts come further up and have the size markings on those. But I believe both of those are good options. That is number 1. Number 2 being a product that I actually got from Gear Wrench, and it was a 3-piece set of push pin pliers and panel clip pliers, or pry tools. It was a 3-piece set for like $40-something, almost $50, and then I saw them in Harbor Freight, and they're the exact same thing. This is the Gear Wrench set. It says nowhere on it does it say Gear Wrench. It's the exact same thing as what you're going to find in Harbor Freight, and this Gear Wrench set alone, without buying it in a 3-piece set, is anywhere from $15 to $18 if I remember correctly, whereas the one at Harbor Freight is $9. It's a very simple tool, very basic design. It's literally for removing, Christmas tree pins on hood liners and things like that. Now the tips, if you can see here on this center section, can be kind of sharp, so when you're using them on like a hood liner or anything like that, you do have to be careful, especially when they're recessed, to not gouge into the hood liner or anything like that. But these can really help you get those little Christmas tree push pins out, no matter where they are. As long as you can get these pliers in there, they can be very helpful and save you a lot of time. So for $9, I think these are a fantastic buy at Harbor Freight. Next up is probably going to be a controversial one, so take this with a grain of salt. It all depends on how much you use this item and what you would be using it for. That being the brush set. This is a very cheap product. It is $2.79, I believe, at Harbor Freight. And so keep in mind, they come with 3 of the larger brushes and 3 of the smaller brushes with different bristles of different coarseness. So I don't really use these ones. For one, they've spaced the bristles out a lot and there's fewer bristles. You can see it's not a very thick brush. Overall, the longer ones aren't really the ones that I use, but for $3, I'm happy with just getting these. So I use these fairly often. The plastic one I'll use on like cleaning parts that I don't want to, maybe they're painted, I don't want to damage that or anything like that, but it's caked in grease or something like that, I'll use the plastic one. And then for more aggressive stuff, like let's say I use my roll-lock discs to clean off a surface area, and then for a ground point or something like that, and then I'll come through with one of the more coarse brushes and I'll clean up that area, get any excess material off of there. Or if it's a part that's not really painted and it's just bare metal, then I'll go through, if it's caked real heavily, then I'll just use some parts cleaning solution and some of these brushes and clean them up. I think for $3, even if I just got these 3 brushes, I think it's a fantastic deal. Now, keep in mind, if you do a lot of this, or maybe a lot of machine work, or something where you're constantly using wire brushes, probably not the best deal for you. Normally, when it comes to Harbor Freight, I stay away from the sandpaper, the wire wheels, the cutting wheels, grinding wheels, things like that I stay away from. I like to get good quality stuff. But as far as the wire brushes, I haven't had a horrible experience with, so this is something that I would suggest. Not so much the larger ones, but it comes as a package deal anyways, so I think for minimal to medium work, these wire brushes do just fine. And once they kind of get blown out or caked in grease, I just toss them and buy a new set. It's a lot easier than trying to clean a wire brush, especially when they're under $3. So that is number 3 on the list today. Next up is an item that I'm not going to be able to show. I'll obviously post a picture, but it's out in my yard right now in use, and that being the tarps. So they have various different thicknesses of tarps, and when you look at the cheaper end ones, I think they're great deals. We use them, like I used one to create a garden, laying it over a patch of grass for a little while, killing off the grass, things like that. I'd use it. I used one on my engine bay to cover up my engine and everything while I was cutting through the fiberglass hood. Things like that, those tarps can be fantastic for. Even if you're just covering something up, you know, you want to select the right thickness. When you get into some of the larger ones and thicker ones, they do become a little bit more expensive. They range anywhere from like $3 to $60. So when you get up into the larger ones or the thicker ones, then you do want to kind of compare the prices there to other places. Maybe you can get a better quality one, but in general, I think for the most part, they're a pretty dang good deal. Let me know your guys' thoughts or experiences with the tarps. Obviously, it's a very simple product. Next up is going to be a product that I've had for probably 5-6 years. This is just one example. I have a couple different extension cords, and they're decent. I haven't had any issues. I used one. It's a 25-foot one. I use it for like my pressure washer, my shop vacs, my rotary tool, my jigsaw, things like that, low amperage items. Now, when you get into higher amperage items, maybe, you know, you're looking at a little bit more money for the extension cords. And there you would once again want to start comparing to maybe some more name brand ones. But overall, I think if you're using it for light duty use, a lot of those cheaper extension cords do just fine. You just got to be careful not to, you know, overpower them or anything like that, and just be smart with what you use on them. But this little 3-plug extension cord, it's just like a lead cord with 3 outlets on it. This thing has been very handy. I use it pretty dang often here. I run a lot of different things on remote controlled outlets, so it's nice to be able to, like, I hook my fan into one, and then like I have my lights on another one. This can be very handy for that situation and things like that. But it's also nice because the plugs are actually covered. I got a child, So I do like to, when I'm not using one of the plugs, make sure that you actually close it off so you don't have to worry about that. And this one is actually rated for outdoor use. It does say when you're not using it to bring it inside, but it is outdoor rated. And this little lead-in triple outlet is $5, so I think that is a pretty good deal for that. And then the other extension cords are going to vary in price, but I think as long as you know what you're running on them, you can get a pretty good deal on the extension cords. Last up is an item that, for the life of me, I could not find on the Harbor Freight website, and I didn't even bother looking last time I was in the store, being their miniature step stool or work platform. So I swear I bought this at Harbor Freight. I don't know where else I would have bought it from. I'm 90% positive I bought it from Harbor Freight. So please, I'll post up a picture. This one is from Northern Tool, possibly. This is the exact same one that I have, but I know I didn't buy it at Northern Tool. I bought it at Harbor Freight. And if you guys don't know, I do PDR work. So anytime I have like a hail car or a car where I'm fixing something on the roof or something up a little bit higher, this thing has been fantastic. Now, it's not the large platform. You can get the large one. They have the large one on the website. I'm not sure if that one's quite as nice as the smaller one or not. It's $50. I want to say for this small one, even though on Amazon here in the picture you saw $50 for the small one, I want to say I paid $30 or $40 for it a few years ago, and then it was $50 for the larger one. And I just got the smaller one for versatility, and it's been great. Now granted, when I had to go from working on one part of the car to the next, sometimes I do have to get down and move the stool, where a long one would be handy because you can just kind of walk across it. But these stools or work platforms can be great for more than just PDR. I mean, they're great in general use, whether you're just reaching something or working up high, anything like that. They're fantastic little benches, and I wasn't sure how this thing would hold up, especially for $30 or $40, but it's held up very well, and I've really enjoyed it. So if you guys know that Harbor Freight had these, please let me know down in the comments, because I can't find it on their website anymore. I can only find the larger one. If Harbor Freight sells these, that is my number 6, the extra one in the video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. If I come up with any more items that I've enjoyed from Harbor Freight, I'll make sure to make another video. But other than that, please, if you guys enjoyed, hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment of your guys' thoughts on these items down in the comments. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. See you guys next time.